Hey guys, so while getting ready for school, my mom pulled out a really old binder of mine that was filled with all this old junk, and I actually found this notebook of mine that has a ancient story of mine that I remember writing. And I think I was about 10 when I made it, and I thought it would be really funny for you guys to hear what I put in it because it's so old and cringy. Um, to explain the general story of it is that it's basically about fantasies. Fantasies being like this sort of humanoid species that has like different powers depending on what they are, like ice fantasy, fire fantasy, earth fantasy, that sort of thing. And they can get really specific and stuff. It's it's just, your average magical species thing. So, yeah, and this was a really rushed story that I wrote while I was actually in class, which is why it has such a fast ending to it. I think the bell rung just as I was about to finish, so I rushed it. I rushed the whole thing, actually. So I thought you guys might have fun reading it. Here we go. I get out and walk around. Thrilling beginning, right guys? Really hooks you in. Passers-by stare. At least I know I'm not the only one. No, we're all fantasies. I stopped briefly to get a good look at the Fire Fantasy castle. They claimed they were independent and built this. The rest of us were scattered. For me, my sight is extremely normal. For you, not so much. Dragons and shapeshifters and ice possessors pass me. Fire possessors also used to pass, but they had a ton of power. They were the most powerful. They claimed freedom, killed a few of us, and made that dreadful castle. Isn't it wonderful how we're rehashing things that were already said? Young me did not know how to write stories. We don't dare go near it, let alone go in it. Even the strongest dragons aren't busting their way in, because fire fantasies are the strongest of us all. Side note, again, these characters are humanoid. How are dragons not as powerful as... Never mind. Back to me. I am one of the last ice fantasies of us all. Persecuted main character moment. I'm so special. Fire fantasies feared only ice fantasies and killed all of them. Well, not all. Other ice fantasies, including the infant me, were hidden by kind fantasies in a dark, unnoticeable cellar. Fire fantasies still don't know our kind is still thriving, our hearts beating together as one. Oh, I'm so persecuted. I'm so special. Everyone is dead but me. And also, do they seriously hide in a cellar through the whole extinction thing? I don't get what this is supposed to say. I climb the steps to my broken down shack. Almost no fantasies are left with homes. The fires claimed all the good ones. Bless the shack. Frost calls a voice from outside. Callisto, my friend. I sit down on my bed and he opens the door. There you are, he says with apparent relief. I thought you ran off to fight the fires. Thank God. He sits down next to me. I feel anger rising in me. Why would I go there? They easily overpower even all of us combined. We would never win. Suddenly, the door flies open, and a fantasy whose arms are on fire stands there. He wears a dark red suit with a gray belt. His eyes and hair are a deadly, fiery orange. I saw an ice fantasy come in here, he boomed loudly, and I demand you walk yourself to our quarters to be killed. Should you refuse, I will burn you here and carry your body to the Fire Fantasy Castle. He lifts a hand. I feel as if my blood has turned to ice, although it's already made out of it. And I stand up and turn to the Fire Fantasy. Come now, let's go, he shouts, but when he starts to walk out, I don't follow. Shall I kill you? He asks, raising a hand. It all happens so suddenly. I point a finger at him and ice sparkles shoot out of the end. It strikes him in the heart and he sinks, howling, to the floor. Then he becomes quite still. Don't you guys love the pacing in this? It's so good. I love it. Me and Callisto stare at him for a while. Then he turns to me and says, "Nice kill." Bro, it's so cool. You murdered a person. Oh, you're so awesome. What? I say, not knowing what he meant. I didn't mean to... What? I trail off, feeling dazed. Let me tell you what you did, says Callisto. You killed a fire fantasy. Why have you been hiding? You and the rest of the Ice Fantasies can ambush the fire fantasies, killing along the way. I bet I might be able to convince some fantasies to help, and dragons too. We need plenty of those. And before I can protest, Callisto turns and leaves the shack. Now I've been spending my time nervously sitting in my shack, waiting for the war day to come. Why is there just suddenly a rebellion? Like, she kills... So this fire fantasy dude suddenly shows up, and then she kills him out of nowhere, and now a revolution is gonna start, and she's just, like, waiting there. Waiting for the war day to come, for us to fail. One day I was sitting in my shack when Callisto burst through the door. Fire fantasy takedown day! He cried excitedly. This dude is so excited about murdering innocent people. Like, is the entire fantasy of fire fantasy people just complete jerkwads? Like, there's no women and children? You're just gonna kill everyone? Okay, dude. Come on, get outside, mount your dragon. And he strode off happily. I nervously shuffle outside. Dragons of all types stand, almost all with fantasies, most ice fantasies. I thought ice fantasies were like extinct, or nearly extinct. I don't get this. On their back, I move through the crowd of dragons and spot a white and light blue one that leaves a snow trail when it walks. I mount it. Its dragon scales are strangely soft. I spot Callisto with a gray one with white sparkles. There's sparkles everywhere. Suddenly a whistle blows, and the dragons take off, soaring automatically towards the fire fantasy castle. My stomach lurches with nerves. After a few minutes, the dragons land with a soft thump as they make touchdown with the pavement outside the fire fantasy castle's doorway. I am scared out of my mind, but Callisto looks as happy as ever. Yay, war! We step off the dragons and inside the castle. It's like stepping into fire itself. Heat was everywhere. Fire was everywhere, and the walls were made of dark, dark red, almost purple bricks. A vain wizard fantasy said he needed to take a bath. He smelled bad. A moment later, we heard screams of agony from the bathrooms, and they discovered his ashes in a tub full of lava. Dude kind of deserved it for going off and taking a bath while they were about to start a battle. Like, bro, yeah, I'm just so dirty. Sorry, we have to put a pause on this war. I need to go clean up. Fire suddenly comes streaming out because of the wizard's cries. I still hate that douchebag. We started to fight. I could see nothing but fire spells and ice spells and shapeshifters as snakes or wolves and werewolves and living trees all clashing together. It all happens at once. I send a block of ice in a random direction and hear a cry. I look in the direction I sent it and I see the fire leader lying on the floor. Fires begin to fall and we overtake them. And after that, peace settles. I think that's where, like, the bell rung and I had to, like, stop writing. So I just totally rushed it. Man, that was wild. Oh my god. I remember being so proud of that story. Oh my god, the wizard. Oh my god. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was the worst thing I've ever read. Oh my. Remember that you have to write shitty stuff like this in order to become an actually good writer.